Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Irvin, also known as Kobuman. Today we're going to work on some help desk tickets. Before we start, please do me a favor in the comment below, just say hello, hi, or present, sort of like in the classroom. That to me tells me how many people are interested in this type of content. All right, let's get into it. And I'm going to pick this one here. Adding a computer to a domain. How to add a computer to domain. So in order to add a computer to a domain, you need to right click the start button and go to the system. So this is just one way to get to it, but what you actually need to do is go to advanced system settings. And this is going to be slightly different in Windows 11, which I will show you, but this is how you do it in Windows 10. So go to the system properties and you just need to get to advanced system settings. And you can also search for advanced system settings within just your start menu, or I should say the taskbar. You can just click on the search and type in what you're looking for. And you have to make sure that you select computer name as the first tab under the system properties. Select change where it says here to rename this computer or change its domain or workgroup. Select change. And as long as you have connection to the domain, you should be able to add it to a domain. And of course, you need administrator privileges specifically for that domain, not the local admin account. So not the local admin account, but a domain admin account, administrator account, because you need those privileges in order to add a computer to a domain. You can see this computer name is named Stream, and you can rename it at the same time. So if you want to name it something else, here's your opportunity to do it at the same time. And all you have to do here is just select domain, type in name of the domain, for example. Well, let me see what I have running is my domain controller here. Here is my domain. I'm going to go to Active Directory, figure out what the name of the domain is. So I'm going to go to Active Directory users and accounts. And the name of this domain is corp.contoso. So I'm going to type that in, corp.contoso.com, and whatever yours is going to be different, right? And then I'm going to select OK. And then after this, since this computer is not connected to it, then I can show you how to do it on a domain controller or domain connected computer. You will get a prop for administrator login, right? So you will get a login account, then you type in your administrator login ID and password. And this is the error you get if your computer doesn't have access to that domain. With Windows 11, it's done a similar way. So if you right click the start button, go to system, you will get something that looks similar. However, you will get an option to select related links. For example, if you scroll down, you can see you can select here domain or workgroup or advanced system settings. But of course, if you select the search box here, you can type in advanced, come on, advanced. There it is, view advanced system settings, which will take you to the same place that we saw in Windows 10. And here is the same place. If you go to the computer name, which is the first tab here, select change, you can see this computer is named computer 1, and you can see that it's already part of domain. So if you want to add this, this is where you would do it. And of course, you would use administrator admin login for that domain in order to join it to this domain, just like you see here. All right, I'm going to pull up my Active Directory users and computers just to show you here. And if I select, let's see, users, you have to make sure you have a login that has administrator privileges when you're adding this. So for example, this one here is called Lab Admin, and it's built-in account for administering the computers on domain. So I can use Lab Admin as a login ID to add this computer to that domain. All right, very good question. Minimize action, and I'm going to say reply. If you go to advanced system settings under first tab called, or I should say named computer name, on that tab, select change to add computer to domain. Computer needs to be on the same network, and you need domain admin login ID and password. Complete. Thank you for submitting this ticket. All right, let's scroll down and look for something else. We got tons of tickets here. I don't know what to pick. I'm just trying to pick. I'm trying not to pick stuff that we've already talked about. Here's this one. Printer not responding. Hello, help desk, or hi, help desk. My name is Emily Brown, and I'm having trouble with my printer. Whenever I try to print a document, the printer does not respond, and print job remains in the queue. Right, so we can't print at all. It gets stuck on the local queue on the computer. I have tried restarting both my computer and the printer, but the issue persists. Now you can have a queue that's also stuck on the print server, but let's talk about the fact that we don't know whether the printer itself is local printer or a network printer. If it's a local printer that's plugged in with a USB directly to the computer, obviously make sure that the computer or the printer itself, is plugged in, there's a connection, that it's online, that the drivers are installed. So you can look at that by simply going to printers and devices. Printers and scanners, I apologize. Look for it in here, whatever it's supposed to be, and it would say whether it's installed, whether it's offline, and it would look something similar to this. If it's a network printer, it would also show up in here, but it would typically have a network name, what is also known a host name, but the host name is also applied to a computer name that's on a domain as well. Now, not to confuse you here, so I'm going to assume this is a network printer, because if it's a business, then chances are it's going to be a shared network printer. USB printers are much easier to troubleshoot, but network printers are not so much, because there are multi-factors or multi-layers when it comes to making sure that a network printer is working properly. All right, so let's look at this here. I'm going to open up our domain controller, and I'm going to open up a command line. And if it's a network printer, you should be able to reach it as long as it's online. So you have to make sure that the connection exists, first of all, on the network if it's a network printer. Right, so how would you do that? Well, you just need to know the name of the printer or its IP address. So if you type in ping name of the printer, so whatever the name of the printer is, you type it in here, like this. Not literally like this, but let's say the name of the printer is printer 1. You would type in ping printer 1 if that's what it's named for your business. And then you would get a response whether printer 1 exists. And it says here, ping request could not find host printer. Please check name and try again. So what is this telling us? Is that it's telling us that the printer 1 doesn't exist on the network. Or also could tell us that the printer 1 is not set up correctly and it's not within DNS. What is DNS? The DNS is a domain name system, and DNS handles the parts of where you don't have to remember the IP address of the printer. You can just remember the name of the printer and use the name to install or add that printer on the user's computer so that way they can access it. So what do I mean by that? The printer can also be added using the IP address. But instead of having to remember what the IP address is, we can just remember that it's named printer 1. Right? In this case, printer 1 is not set up. It's not set up in DNS. It doesn't exist. This is why we're getting this error. It says ping request could not find host printer. Host, it could say here host name, and that's just another way of saying a computer name or a printer name. Otherwise, if you knew what the IP address is for this printer on the network, you can type in whatever that IP address is. For example, this. whatever the IP address is. And you can also add a printer using the IP address as well, but it's typically not done. So if I ping that, it's not going to work because it doesn't exist. So the first step is we have to make sure that this printer is within DNS. This printer name is being routed or forwarded correctly. Again, you're using a printer name instead of having to remember the IP address, so that way you can easily add these printers to users' computers. Let's open up DNS here and see what we have here. We know that we can look up our DNS record. These are called DNS records to make sure that it's being forwarded correctly. But let's see how that looks like. So it's forwarding of the IP address, or forwarding of the name to the IP address. For those reasons, with DNS open, we're going to select forward lookup zones. So we're going to search those zones to see if there is a DNS record for that printer. I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to make sure that I select the correct domain, because you will have multiple domains in here, multiple domains that keep their own records. And in this case, our domain is corp.contoso. And if you select that, you can see it would populate whatever, all of it that it's in there. If this has a lot of stuff, and chances are we'll have thousands and thousands of DNS entries, we can filter it. So right click your domain name, go down to view, select filter, select name starts with, and you can type in, what did we use? Printer1. And we're going to select OK. After this, you have to make sure you right click the folder where it says corp.contoso or whatever your domain is. So right click again, select refresh. And there are no result. What you're getting here, this is something that shows up just as part of the domain. It's not a DNS entry. These are not DNS entries for our host name specifically. So there is nothing there. Now let's look for something that we know there is a DNS entry for. So I'm going to do the same thing. Right click, go to view, select filter, and I'm going to type in client2. So this time I'm going to type in client2, which I already did. Sorry that there were sirens playing, so I had to kind of cut that part out. And typed in client2 and select OK. And you have to select refresh again. So right click the folder, select refresh. You can see there's entry for client2. And you can see that its IP address is 10.0.0.111. So DNS entry for client2 is working. However, for our printer, it's not. So this is one of those fictional issues where you have to make sure that this is the first step. You check to see if the DNS record is there, right? So what's the next step? Well, what else could it be? Well, the print server itself. So if I open up the print server, by the way, I have a great video on adding network printers. I'm going to post a link to come up right now. If you don't see it, that means I forgot. So please ask me in the comment to send you the link to the print, adding a network printer, and it gives you the step-by-step instructions. Where is the print server? I wonder if I even have print server installed on this. Nope, I don't have print server installed. All right, well, this is how you do it. This is how you add a print server. If you go to the server manager, I'm going to post a link. Don't worry, I'm not going to let you hang. So I'm going to post a link on how to complete this printer setup for the network and how everything works. But if you have a server installed and you need to add a role, which is a print server, go to the server manager, select a role. Well, it's doing something. It's collecting inventory. Come on, hurry up. There, okay, all right, here we go. Select add a role, select next. We're going to select role-based and feature-based installation. Next. Okay, I'm going to select whatever the default is here. I apologize, this turned into something else. Again, I have the video on how to add this printer and how to create it. So don't worry, check that out. All right, and then I'm going to select print and document services, select add features. Am I missing anything else? Nope, that's it. Select next. Select next again. Select next. And the print server, I'm going to install internet printing as well, so we can have a web access, so that way we can do some troubleshooting like that. Next, all this looks good. Next, and then install. So in the next video we will have it. All right, I apologize for that. This is going to take a while to install, so I'm just going to let it marinate. If this is a network printer, please make sure it is configured correctly. Check DNS, DHCP, which I'm assuming that part of IP address. So he needs a reserved IP address. Please watch that printer video. It's great. So he needs a DNS entry, needs a DHCP reservation, so meaning IP reservation. And what else? And print server settings. Otherwise, if there is an error on the printer itself, for example, out of toner and such, this could place the printer in offline state. So those errors like this, out of toner and such, can also make the printer appear offline, which is offline because it takes it offline until you resolve the error, right? There is an error. All right, complete. Let's pick something else. All right, let's look at this one here. Microsoft Office application. When attempting to open any Word, PDF, or Excel sheets. I mean, this should be separate from, oh, okay, Office is not, PDF is not part of Office, but anyways, I'm getting the attached error, and it says something went wrong. We couldn't start your program. Please try starting again. If you want to start, try repairing Office programs and features, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, I mean, this could be a couple of different things, but the obvious one that we can do here is repair. So if I go to add, remove programs, look for Office. Here is Microsoft Office 365. Select advanced options, scroll down, and select repair. And this is a quick repair. So this is a very fast repair that happens on your computer. There are two different types of repairs for Office or Office 365. It's a little bit different for older offices, but you will get an option to repair nonetheless, whether it's on advanced options or manage. I think the old one, if you would look it up in add remove programs, it would say manage instead of advanced options. So if it's older Office suite, if you will. Now you can do a full repair if you go and download Office 365. You can do a full repair. Here it is. You just search for it, and where is the link? It's somewhere here. Install. You have to log in with your account to download it if you're going to do it manually. Anyways, so you can download it manually. You just have to log in when you go to office.com with your Microsoft account. You can also do it through SCCM, for example, the Content Manager. Let me see. Do I even have or CCM, I should say. Software Center. Okay, I don't have it here. Anyways, I have a video on Software Center, or SCCM, if you will. Now it's called Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. And basically, it's a way to manage software installation and updates on your computer. I have a video on that as well. And I'll put a link to that as well. Sorry, I've already made stuff on this, so it's kind of the same difference. But I highly suggest that you do check it out. say I would try repairing the Office suite from add remove programs. You can also manually install/repair by downloading the Office program from office.com after you log in with MS. After you log in, because you could have a domain login and log into it, office.com, and still have that option, because this is how cloud is set up nowadays. So even if it's your login for your work, for your job, you can still log into office.com given that your work uses Office 365. It will still let you log in with your regular login for your work. Resolved. All right, let's look at this one here. It says the deleted folder appears empty again and again. I have a problem that the folder that I deleted appears again after some time. There is nothing in it. I tried everything. This check recycle bin repair, check the rights. Everything is fine. Do you perhaps know what else it could be? It is Windows 10 22H2. All right, let's see what this looks like. So right away, you can tell that this is a shared network drive, and it's just as the network path here. All right, so it's this folder, and there's a timestamp. Well, let me see when this ticket was submitted. And this was submitted August 1st. So quite recently, we can see that in June. So I know it's empty. I don't know it's empty, even after you're deleted. But there is some kind of a cache thing going on the network shared drive itself. There could be a backup. That's what it is, probably. I want to say it's actually a backup that is set up that keeps rechecking and re-adding a folder in here. So this is something that whoever has access to the network share have to look at this. So I hate to do this because I don't have a way to actually replicate this. I'm just going to say I would check with desktop support team to see why this folder keeps coming back. It could be related to a network backup running a process in the background with cached folder name. It could also be that someone else is using the same shared folder location on the network, and has it open or cached on their computer. Yeah, check to see who else has access to it. Yeah, and just follow up with them, I suppose. It's an interesting ticket. Thank you for submitting it. All right, I think I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good weekend. Stay positive and be nice to each other. Take care. Bye-bye.